What up, Jim?
What
All
up?
right. So you were just kind of saying that you're the hardest worker at your job, man. Like, which I see it. I actually see that you're one of the hardest workers in the group too. So thank you. You show up everywhere, man. So I can see that.
That's that's where it begins. If I can get myself to show up every day and do everything we need to do, that's how it takes to build where you want to go. You can't become who you want to become until you do the things that that person would do. Um, changing your life is about changing what you do every day, not just having a dream and thinking it's going to work out.
Indeed. Good morning, Norman.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. We got Norman and his note taker. Love it.
Yeah. We were talking to your note taker for a second. So there's some special notes there for you. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Is that a little AI software? What's that thing, huh?
Yeah, it's like a desktop software.
Okay.
Whenever you open like Google Meet or Zoom, it just turns on.
That's nifty. Huh. Dang. Yeah, that's really cool. Did you pay for that? How much you pay for that?
It's free.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Called Fathom.
Yeah. There's a couple of them out. Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty cool. I dig. So I think like one of my favorite things, which is kind of like part of today's topic, is something called content repurposing. I feel like AI is extremely powerful with essentially generation, and it's extremely powerful with like its ability to respond. However, I always feel like, because I actually read the copy, I actually read a lot of blogs. I see this stuff. Like I don't want the output to be crap. Like if it's bad, then I won't publish it. I won't ever publish it. And so what I found to be the best is content repurposing. And so it's a lot of times like what you're just doing right here, right? You're taking these notes. Well, like you could literally create massive amount of content from that. You could take the notes and like write them up into a little like document, make quizzes, like there's a lot of stuff that you could do from those notes, Woohoo. We got everyone joining. What's up?
That's another software idea there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just put everything everywhere, I guess. Okay.
Record it all the time.
That's what it's coming down to. There's just too much content out there, so you got to have something that's good.
Yeah. Good morning, Parker. Oh, what up, man? You sharing your screen today.
Nice digs.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you great, man.
Cool, man. How you guys doing?
Good. Look at you, like showing up. I like your setup, man.
Thanks, man. It's like this 24/7, just chilling.
That's awesome. Heck yeah. Do you have a podcast or something? You look like you'd be like giving classes or something with that setup.
No, I got it for Christmas.
Okay.
And I'm still trying to figure out what to do with it. So.
Dude, yeah, you look good on camera, man. So you gotta.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Keep showing up, man.
Hey, that's how we do, baby. Try to be like you, man. Hey, I was still trying to figure out because I tested the command prompt you made. Man, like I'm still trying to figure out because what eventually what I want to do is do like the because I like what you said, how it's kind of like with my AI team, you can test things out first, build your audience first, get your niche, and then do what you're gonna do with it. That was beautiful, man. Like I'm really excited to use it more. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today is content repurposing. Okay.
Okay.
Because I essentially been working on my AI team to allow this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I have a lot of ideas. Like I was actually talking to one of my developers, right? So here's a story, right? So some of you guys have read one of the books that I'm reading right now. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? I've read this book a couple times in my life. It's probably the absolute most impactful book I've ever read in my entire life. It was the book that actually got me into reading, right? And so, however, in there, it talks about the goose and the golden egg. And so there's a goose and a golden egg. And then one day the farmer wakes up, and every day he finds out this goose is laying a golden egg. Right. And then at first he throws away the egg and he doesn't think it's real. And then he goes back and he checks the egg and he finds out and he gets it appraised, and it's 100% real solid gold egg. Right. And so this goose every day it continues to lay this golden egg. Right. It's a goose that lays golden eggs. Well, one day the farmer he's like, man, this thing keeps laying golden eggs. And he gets impatient and he decides to cut open the goose to try to get all the golden eggs. Right. And so the farmer kills the goose. And what he finds is inside the goose, there was no golden eggs. So what he's done is not only did he kill the goose that produced the golden eggs, but he no longer gets the golden eggs. Right. So inside my development world, me and my developer, we work every day, right? We're like hitting it, right? We're building software every single day. Well, for me, that's the golden eggs. Right? Like, good job, developer. Woohoo. However, this last week, him and I just kind of took it slow and took it easy. And we just built his projects. Because for me, I also have to worry about the health of the goose. Right? For me, my developer is the goose that produces the golden eggs. Right? If I want my developer to stick with me and I want my developer to continue to produce awesome things, well, I also have to realize he does have projects that aren't just client work all the freaking time. You know what I mean? And it's like he has a dream outside of just helping Jeff build software for his clients, right? And so our conversation turned into like, what is he building, right? Like, what is he trying to create, you know? And we literally talked for 3 hours on the clock, paid, you know, and like when you're a small startup, like every hour counts, you know what I mean? And we're working on his ideas. Well, that also turned into more golden eggs, because he's not a sick goose. He's not a sick goose that's not able to produce golden eggs at the moment. He literally has fantastic of ideas. He's like, we could create this micro SaaS. We could create this idea. We could do this. So we have this idea of rapid prototyping, where we actually want to create software fast and test it out in the market and see if these are valuable ideas that we could one day sell. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, well, that's kind of what Parker was just saying is I built my AI team as a tool it has everything I possibly have in there, but also we need to be able to rapid build. So one of the things that I recently added just this week is something called an API. Right. So here's the cool thing, right? You guys know how my AI team is a software, right? Well, I'm not that guy that wrote the fancy code to make AI work, right? I have an AI dealer, right? Like I literally break it up from like pounds and sell it as like ounces. You know what I mean? Like I have an AI dealer, right? Right. Like I get AI from somebody else and I upsell it through the software process. All right. Well, I didn't write the code for the AI. I didn't create the AI. I didn't make that amazing technology. All I did is I take the user's input and I pass it over there and I say, hey guys, this is what the user wants. Give me it back in return. And then I display it on the front end. That's all software is for me on my end. I'm not doing the fancy coding. I'm not doing the hard part. I'm just connecting a user input and returning the output and displaying it. That's it, right? So that is the extent of software development using AI. We don't have to be the super geniuses, okay? So now check this out. So same thing. If you guys are sitting here building software and you're like, well, where do I start? All right, so I have my AI team. You do not have to use my AI team. You could use any other software platform or AI dealer, okay? So recently, if you go to custom commands on this left-hand side, I want to be able to use a software called make.com. Have any of you guys used Make before?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, heck yeah. Okay, so here's what's really cool. Think of Make as there's something called micro SaaS, right? Micro software. And that's where you make a software that is essentially, it does one task, but then you sell it to users over and over. Well, Make is a little bit, I would call it micro software, because you're not getting a whole bunch of users. You're usually getting, the way it's usually going to be set up is you're going to be setting this up for an internal business, right? So if somebody was to hire you, or you wanted to set up a certain process to like automate one thing in your business, right? Make would be used for that. All right. It's not necessarily something I would build an entire software around. It's more of something I would test an idea to see if it worked. I would bring on 1 or 2 clients to do this for them personally. And then if it works, well, then I would build out a whole software around it. Okay. So now here's what's cool. Okay. The other day I created it where we could actually integrate into, so if we go into custom commands, this is what I started doing the other day. Okay. So if I went into custom commands and we want to actually create something, we could actually create these custom commands. And let's just go back to the one that we created the other day, the quiz maker, right? So the other day, oh, this is test mode. The other day we were in a quiz maker, right? A YouTube quiz maker. And if we wanted to actually use this, okay, well, it's like, might be multiple steps that my AI team, we want to do on a daily basis, right? We might want to repurpose content and take YouTube videos, turn that into a blog, and then publish it on WordPress every single day. All right, like that might be the process that we want to do every day. And we want to make it where it's like ran on certain channels or ran on every time we put a YouTube link in. Whatever that case is, we want that to be done. And later on, we're going to make that into a full software if we could get a couple customers, or if it works out for us, right? So here's what's cool. Inside here, we could actually have it where we set up our custom command, right? And then we create it. Well, if I click this little like connect to API button thing, right? This says my AI team's API, all right? So we just made it where you could connect right to this custom command, and all you have to do is send an input, the command ID, and your API key. All right, so you don't have to set up a ton of stuff. It's a simple setup, right? So if I was to go into Make, and if I was to edit this, I actually got a link for you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna move this. So if you go down to here, there's a little thing that says import blueprint or export blueprint. Okay, well, if I export the blueprint, this exports this entire little setup, right? If I click this setup, this is the setup. This is the setup for the API call for my AI team. So if I was to set this up right now, I could come in here and this says hello, this says temp, and okay, so I think this is actually the AI image one. So I could come in here and I could set this one up. And here's what's cool. Inside Bubble, I was able to set up this API flow. All right. So if you guys ever wonder, can Bubble do all of this cool stuff where it's like, can it do an API, right? Like Bubble could even do APIs, right? So if I went into this little custom command API workflow, this is the entire API of what it's actually doing. All right, so you can see right here, I have a custom command and it's running, that's the URL that we'd be sending, and it triggers with a post API call, right? So a post just means you guys are sending data to me, all right? That's what post means. Then it's gonna post and it's gonna do all of these things, all right? So if I wanted to set this up and Make, I'll kind of go through this little process. We'll set up a brand new one. And basically you just hit create scenario. And here's what's really cool. This is connected. Make is connected to a massive amount of other softwares, like an absolute massive amount. So you can make it where it scrapes data, right? So there's one that we talked about. It's called Browse AI. So Browse AI is connected also. So it enables you to like, I was going to be scraping Etsy products, and then I was going to have AI recreate the Etsy products, and then I was going to have it listed on my Etsy. right? And then that was going to be a little process that I set up through here. Okay. The other thing I was going to do is have it where it grabs news every day and then posts it to my WordPress site through this process. And so what I'm going to do is go to HTTP, and then this is the API call essentially. Inside Bubble, if you guys had a software and you guys want to connect these custom commands in Bubble, the API enables you to do this also, right? So that's what the API enables. So you can build, and then you don't have to go into your back end of your Bubble every time to edit your prompts. You know, it kind of helps you build on the front end. So as you guys are building your guys' softwares, here's what I've learned is you could even build a full entire API software. So here's what's really interesting is whenever you build an API and you build a software around an API, it's almost like your entire software is built on somebody else's software. So if you guys were building on the My AI Team's API, that's fantastic. That's awesome. However, if you were to build software on top of it, I'm part of your software now, right? So like I'm the back end of your software. I'm the brain of your software. So if you as the software developer ever thought, how do I integrate my product into hundreds and hundreds of other products and make it where I'm quote unquote sticky, right? Because once you have a coded in API, well, it's kind of hard to switch a coded in API. I've done it. And I mean, it's not the worst, but like you're building entire software on the push of one button. Okay. So just know that like, as you always come to this side of the table too, right? You guys are learning how to build software so you could learn how to sell your own APIs, and Bubble can also facilitate that as the development part. Okay. So you see where it says key and then it says like our text. Well, essentially I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to make it's called make an authorized request. All right. So make a basic authorized request. And I'm going to add the URL from over here. From this little pop-up. Boom. So we just add the URL right here. The method is going to be a post method. The body type is going to be a form data. And then we're going to add the fields. Okay. The field, this one is going to be a text. And then the key, right? It's going to be our API key, right? Well, you see how it says it right here on this front end? In the back of my Bubble, it literally says right here, I set this up, right? I literally went in here and I told it, I want it to be a post. Man, I set the definition of what I'm going to accept as the user parameters. And then I literally said key, API key. You see how I literally typed in that? And then I accept type text. That means inside my coding later on, I'm searching for user and I'm searching up the user by API key, right? So that's how I get the user. All right. So like now I could reference and I could exchange and reduce your guys' like credits based off of that. Right. So now I put API key and now I could paste my value of what my API key is. All right. I'm going to change my API key after this call because this whole time I'm sharing my API key with you guys. And if somebody else has your API key, well, then they could essentially send credits, right? It's like using your password. Okay. So now we're going to add another field type text. The key is going to be command ID. And we're going to add one more, and that's going to be field type text. The key is going to be, we have input one. All right. If you want the instructions for this, it's all right here, right? It literally says if using make.com, which this is my affiliate link, right? So when you build software, always include your affiliate links where you can. Don't be shy. Right? That's like extra free income. You know what I mean? All right. So first create and edit your scenario, add the HTTP, then make a request. Then you're going to paste in the URL. This will be a post method. The body type is going to be a form data. It says add 3 fields with each type is text. First is going to be API key, then command ID, then input. Okay. So we'll go back to this. This last one is the input. And then we want the command ID. All right. So I'm going to copy this and command ID. And in order to get your API key in My AI Team, you're going to come up here and click on this, and then it'll pop up over here, and it'll say Manage Account. And then, oops, don't click that. That's manage account is not the right button. It's the wrong one. All right, hold on. All right, so in here, we're going to go to your credits or your thing, and then it's going to go to profile. All right, and then down here, it actually says your API key, okay? Basically, it says if you don't have an API key right here, you can literally type in your name, your email, and what do you plan on building with my AI team, right? I'm just going to say make stuff, and then I'm going to hit generate API key, and then you see right here, it generates you a new API key, okay? And so from there, you can use in make, okay? So I'm going to paste my API key here. Like I said, don't share this. I'm only sharing it with you guys because obviously, like, I'm going to make a new one, okay? And then now you have your input. Well, anytime you set up one of these custom commands, well, this is the custom command just for this one. So this is our Etsy listing creator. Well, if I want to switch it out to our quiz, back to prompts, I go to only yours. And let's see. So we have our quiz. Come on. All right. Let's see. This is test version. That's why. Dang it. All right. So, all right, companies, and then I have our quiz. YouTube quiz maker. So I go right here and I could highlight this ID, and then this is the ID that we're going to use. So now this is all we need. Okay. And let's see if this works. Hopefully, oops. There's a lot of tabs open. All right, and then right here where it says parse response, I'm going to click yes because then it returns it back in a nice format. I'm going to hit OK. OK and save. Oops, let's see. Where is this not set? Oh, credentials, my basic auth key. All right. All right, cool. So I'm going to hit OK, and we're going to hit run once. All right. And it didn't work. I love it when it does this. All right. So, yeah, dang it. I might have to reset the call somehow.
It's so good, man. It's a process, man.
It really is. Normally it should load and then it should return the result, but it just returned it too fast. So I know it didn't work right now.
It's all good.
But yeah, so this is kind of where we're going. I'm going to make it where it sets up. I don't know what I did wrong.
I'm going to have to replay this video at least 20 times after it's done.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
Really gel everything because you say things, I'm just like, what? But I understand the end goal. So
perfect. Yeah.
That's all. That's what's important.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll have an addendum with this video so you guys could see where the call actually works. Yeah. There was one I set up already before the class. I just don't think I think it literally didn't even save on this thing. Dang it. So yeah, so essentially this makes it where we could I think it was this. Let's see. So this is the call if it actually would have set up properly. Let me just switch out the API key. All right, sweet. All right, so this is the one I wanted to actually send to you guys because I set this up to make sure it worked before the call. And then you guys will have this. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I'm going to switch out my custom command ID, and then I'm going to switch out my new API key. Okay, so that's essentially what you guys are going to do also once I send this little snapshot for you. All right, so I'll go here, add my API key, and if I hit OK, and then save, and then run. All right, so you see how it's running now? So this one definitely worked. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I actually created a little like blueprint. It's called Blueprint JSON. Okay. So what you guys are going to do, I'm going to send this in the chat. And okay. So when you guys get this link, it's going to look like this. Okay. It's going to take you to this little like link page. All right. It's going to look all like crazy. What you're going to do is you're going to right click and then you're just going to hit save as. And then you're just going to, at the very end, you're just going to go to the very end when you hit save and you're going to hit .json. Okay. And then you're going to hit save. Okay. .json. And when you import it into here, what's going to happen is you're going to go down to this little tool right here and you're going to hit import blueprint. And it's going to say blueprint JSON. Okay. And you're literally going to import it. So what that's going to do is that's going to be this successful call right here. I don't know why the other one didn't work, but this one does work. All right. So we have one that works. Okay. But what this is going to do is if you see right here, this output, you see how it has this little one? Well, if I go to data right here, and if I go to the response, it has our AI response right here. It has our response. It has our credits. So it shows us how much credits we have. Because inside Bubble, I added it where it shows us, if I go to this return data, it has, I could return data, right? I have AI response, a PS message, and then your user ID and credits. And then look, I have a little PS message that says, you are awesome. So I was like, cool, you could add little messages here in the APIs. Okay. Okay, so hopefully this little part was easier. Okay, so yes, you could set it up how I have the instructions, and hopefully I'll set up where the instructions work properly next time you guys watch this video. However, if you guys click on that link, and then like I said, right click and then hit save as blueprint.json, you could import this blueprint into here, and then all you have to do is switch out your essentially, when you click on this, you're just switching out your API key and your command ID. All right, and now check out what we could do. Inside here, we could actually edit all of our little, like, all we're doing is essentially editing what the AI is saying back and forth. That's all it's doing. All right, you could do that with OpenAI. You could do, and OpenAI connects into Make also, okay? And then you use your API key right inside Make for OpenAI. So now here's what's cool, right? Now what we could do is we could connect to another module, and we can do WordPress, right? And we might connect to WordPress. And if you see inside WordPress, you can see we could create a post. So we could actually start making AI automated blogs with this, right? Where all we have to do is paste in our topic and then outputs a giant blog. All right. So that might be something where you're like, okay, is this a valuable idea that I want to test? Hey, who wants this setup where I could come in and I'll set this up for your company? And then you set this up every day. Now, here's what's also cool is inside here, you see how this has like a little timer? Well, you could make it where inside here, there's something called browse.ai, right? Browse.ai, browse, let's see, right? Browse.ai. Well, browse.ai is a scraper, right? So if you were to go to browse.ai, you could actually scrape things from Browse. And they have a whole bunch of like little like personal like robots in a sense that will go scrape things, right? This will extract a YouTube video transcript. This one will extract the like paging, the heading and the paragraphs and the images from a web page. So you might have it where it scrapes a news source every single day, right? Or this one scrapes the small business administration, right? And makes leads. And then you can process it with AI. So
That's cool.
So really this kind of gives you a gateway to have automation inside your business using AI through this whole process. You can see if I hit run once, it will essentially have the AI process it, and then it will publish it to a WordPress blog. Once we set this like map it all, right? We have to map every little like, do you want the blog title here? Do you want the, the body here? So it's all inside this area. So this is what I like micro SaaS to test for your stuff. So, yeah.
You have AI make your titles and your Like, so everything's like SEO, you know, like I have the most SEO'd title and SEO'd this and that.
Yeah, 100%. So you see how we have this response right here? This is getting the response from this call. And then now we can map this response in here. So you might have one that's you might have a custom command creator, right? That is a world-class title generator.
Okay.
Right. And then you just pass in, maybe you pass in your article at the end to generate a title based off of that. And you just say, only output me a title from your custom command. And now whenever you set it up, so let's just say I called this and I have a viral title. Title generator. All right. Generates generates a single viral YouTube or viral blog title from an article. Okay, so we could just simply make it where we actually write this training data, or on this left hand side it says click here to get help from AI, and then AI is basically going to read our prompt and then read the prompt description, and then it's going to create us our AI prompt to be able to talk to the AI.
Wow.
And then we could edit it from there. All right. So that, like, I find it makes it so much like faster, just because then it just kind of gives you a starting point, right? So it says make me a catching viral type based on given articles. All right. So perfect. Now we could actually edit this entire thing. So we could see that this does quite a bit. However, we probably want it to do where it just does one, you know, so we can make where this final line says, using all the above information, think about the most viral title for a blog you can, and only output the blog title, nothing else. Okay. And then I'm going to say based, nothing else, based on this article. Okay. Article. So you don't even have to be good at spelling to be a programmer. All right, so now I'm just going to say paste your article here. All right, and so essentially, now after we have our article, we could input it into this one. So if we go back into make, well, we can say, we can do this, right? We can duplicate this and clone this one. And now we can make this one a title generator, right? And we could switch out, we don't have to switch out anything besides this ID, right? And this input. So now we're here. And now we could say the input is going to be the freaking article from that thing. Okay. Right. So we could delete everything here. Hold on. Delete everything here. And we could say our response is going to be there. Okay. So our response is going to be the AI response into this input value. Okay, so now we can hit OK, and essentially this is going to make us our review, and this is going to make our single title. Let's test it over here to see if it does this, and then we add it into essentially our workflow, right? And then if this all works, we'll just hit save down here. And then run once while that's doing it. And so you see how this just popped out our title? 24 Hours with School, the breakthrough platform revolutioning online communities. All right, so it just spit out a title based off of that. Well, this is writing the article, the review, because that was our first prompt that we set up. And then this is spitting out our title. All in one process. So, and then now we could connect it all to WordPress.
But
Right.
could you make one like feed off the other? So like I want the article created and then I want the title created and then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that's what this is doing right now. So this is making the article, and then it's feeding that article into this to make the title.
But if it's still making it, how did it make a title before the article's done? You know?
It's not.
Oh,
So you see that now it's doing it.
Okay.
It just fed it from this one to that one. Now it's doing this one. So this
Okay,
one, I could look at the output, and I could look at the full article. I could see the response, and I could see what it just did, right? It has the school review,
Mhm.
and then it's now feeding it into this one after it wrote the article, and then it will take it, it will feed it next. If we set it up to the WordPress, it will feed it into WordPress.
All right, that's cool.
Yep. And so you could just set it up all in here. You see how fast we just set this up, right? And then now it pops up into here. And now we have our title. Check out this, right? Our data comes through here, our response, same thing. Oh, this one definitely produced multiple quiz results and titles. All right. So we would want to adjust our prompt, right? So I could literally come in here, and because it's like giving us everything, right? I could edit this, and I actually want this avatar in here still. We don't need a lot of these where it's actually like list of these things, right? Oh, actually, this produced a quiz. Oh, interesting. This is the issue. So you see right here, I didn't switch out this command ID. It's actually the same command ID as this one still. So let's go back into this. And I continue to do things in test mode. Dang it. I'm literally going to have to shut test mode down. All right, let's go back to this. All right. All right, let's try this again. Okay, so this ID is actually I was in test mode, so it wasn't actually calling that one. Okay. So you could have it where it just runs this command too. So if I hit OK and I hit save again, you could right click where it just runs this module only if you just wanted to test that one type thing. And then now I could take the response from this and I can paste it into here. And you could kind of like just diagnose one part at a time. And then it just runs that one. And now we have our title. Perfect. All right, 24 hours to $90. Unpacking Jeff Calder's remarkable journey with the school platform. Heck yeah. Okay, so now if we either save everything and we were to run it again, essentially this is going to write the article and this is going to do the title, and then we could connect it to this. And I'm going to totally close down our test version. So yeah, so essentially you could do multiple parts. The other part that I connected also with this is I made it where we could do images. So my AI team could do images, and I'll make another video and I'll add it into our training once I know that goes through properly. I'm going to double check before I do it live again. Yeah, so you could totally feed in data, right? So you might have this where, here's what's cool. Somebody else the other day said they're in the Facebook group or inside the school group. Let me bring this up. They literally talked about something that was really cool, right? They're like, oh, I wish I could do this with like AI, right? They were talking about cool things they could do with AI. Well, this is something that you could do, right? They were talking about like cool things that they wanted to build. Here's a developer. Let's see. Have found Hugging Face. Nope. Interesting things for use cases, right? So he says an AI assistant.
That's me.
Oh, what's up, man? All right. So I was thinking about you when we did this, right? So you want an AI assistant that should import that all important mail and messages should be predefined as important contacts from my personal email, work email, WhatsApp, Messenger, Slack, and put them in a separate Slack channel. So this is This is the tool that I would recommend doing all that with, right? It's because check out this, right? We can make it where Gmail is on this thing, right? Gmail's connected to this to make, right? So you could make it where every day this thing runs. It says copy an email, draft, market, modify emails, move emails, send emails. A lot of these things you can like read the email, right? So modify, move, iterate. You could go into Slack also, and right, same thing. Slack has it where you could get the messages, read each channel, right? And bring everything into one, right? Search for message, get a message in private channel, get a public message, create a text message, list a message, get a channel, list all the topics. You could do a lot of things from this. And then every day have this run and feed the data. And here's what's cool. You remember how down earlier I had it where you could import the blueprint and export the blueprint? You might create this entire thing and then you might sell the blueprint for Make. And then you teach a class on show people how to set it up, right? And then you're creating a Make type of software. So somebody could do that every day. You're like, hey, literally I have this due every single day, right? And these are just micro softwares. From here, it's kind of cool is you could even connect this into Bubble, right? So if you wanted Bubble, and now you could even feed that data back into Bubble, into your software. So if you actually wanted to turn this into a software one day, well, I mean, you're not far from it, you know? And so for me, I feel like this is a really, really powerful starting point. And if I look at this, right, we have our data response, 24 hours to success, how I built my profitable online and employable school. So yeah, so this is,
You can make WordPress feedback into something else. Like,
oh yeah. You can make this WordPress post, then you could grab the post from this and then you could connect it to Facebook. And then you can make a post on your Facebook post. Yeah. There's so much you could do with this. Yeah. Facebook groups, Facebook posts, Facebook pages, Twitter. Yeah.
you have to like do something to WordPress for it to do that. I mean, like, how is it Bubble controlling WordPress? That's
Yeah, so Make is the connection. So right here, you set everything up. So just like how we set up these fields in here. So if we were to create a post in here, let me kind of just show you how we map it. So you see how I have this title right here? Well,
Yeah.
now, because I set this one up here, I'm going to go to this response and I'm going to click down here and I'm going to click on the AI, or actually it's this first one, right? It has our title, right? Because it kind of like highlights it whenever it's like blinking. Well, now it has our title. So there's our title. Well, if I want our content, well, our content's going to be down here in this one because this is the one that actually like wrote it. So it maps our data here. So now that's going to make our title, and then here, and then we can have our excerpt, right? Where our excerpt is our summary. Well, now I need an AI summary creator, right? So I could have the same thing over here where I have like, go back to my custom commands, right? And I create myself an article summary writer. And I might use that summary in multiple places, right? I might use that summary where it writes my blog, my social media post, or it writes, like something like that, right? So, and then I could have it here, writes the article summary and nothing else based on an article input. All right. So now we can have get help from AI. This is such a small little like prompt where we don't have to have it where the AI will write it for us, However, we could I like to see what it says. Paste your article here. All right. And then now we could grab this ID and inside Make, just clone this one. And now we switch out this little, our command ID and then hit OK. And then our input, again, we're just switching out our input now. It's still going to be from the step one. So now this thing is going to make us where we have a summary right there. And then I could come over here into WordPress into the excerpt. It hasn't ran yet, which is all right. So let's test it. Let's make sure it runs first. All right. So write the final version of the summary. Keep in mind the above steps in your persona. Okay, cool. Right, the summary above, persona, and nothing else using this article. Okay. So now it will say paste my article here. Let me grab the article. Oops. Article. And just to test it. And it should just essentially output the entire article. If it works, then I'll run it. You could always adjust the creativity here, and I have it where it's all controlled in here. So you guys can edit everything you need in here. If you want it more systematic, reduce the creativity, right? You might have it where it's querying a database, right? And then this prompt is querying the database, so you need it to be more systematic and like not as creative in a sense. So you reduce that. And then this could generate your query for your database, you know? Yeah. Which I'm going to be coming out with a software soon, and it does just that. Which is why I know how to do that.
So could you do something where, could you do something where like let's say someone wrote a comment on your WordPress blog about the article, and then I want to scrape that comment and then do something with that comment. You can make something like that happen too?
Yeah. So let's see. So if I go to here, to WordPress, you could see all of the things. Right? You see how it says get a comment? Absolutely, you can.
Huh.
Right? So get a comment and then create a comment. Update a comment. Search comments, right? So you could search for a specific comment and get a comment, create a comment. So imagine if you said get a comment and then create a comment, and then it runs through this, right? Your AI. And then it produces. And then you can even create media that attaches it to it, or however you choose, you know? So yeah, absolutely.
Like how is it? It's not like hard coded into WordPress though. How is it doing that? Is it like, is there a plugin or something, or like how does it?
Yeah, absolutely. You see right here where it says connection? I actually add my connection. So it says a WordPress API base URL. And then this will give you like the example. So it says WordPress.-JSON. So, and then it has your API key. Well, your API key is how you connect to that WordPress itself. And it gives you instructions how to do it. Every time you set up one of these new modules, you'll find a connection itself. And that connection is what connects you to what WordPress. Like here's what's cool is you might have a drop down. You see, I have all these different websites. I have my Tech Times News Global, right? So Tech Times News Global. Oops. Tech Times News Global admin. Let's go to Tech Times. So I have a blog that I have, and essentially Michael Benson is my AI writer, right? And this is just every day it writes. That's the goal with this. It was whenever I was doing this before, I was actually manually writing these freaking blogs using AI. Well, that just takes too long. You know, like now I'm going to make it where now I've come full circle where I can set it back up and I could have make write these, and I'm going to have it do just that. However, I just haven't got there yet. Now that's the goal. And then it's going to publish this on a regular day basis. And then here's what's cool is behind the scenes inside my, inside this, I have other tools inside WordPress that every time there's a new post, it shares that post on all my social medias. So it's called FS Poster. And I like paid for it one time, and then essentially like every time it literally just posts every day from my things, and it gets traffic from that every time there's a new article.
Oh, that's cool.
So now you have something that's scraping data, repurposing it, and then posting it on an active daily basis. And it's also cool is because I set up where it also sends out an email to everybody on every day that there's a new article, if there's a new article. So it like this site's fully automated. Once I get this make set up, publish it all through this process. So like, and then I'm going to have a fully automated blog. Well, here's what's cool is I'm going to get paid from here, which is Google AdSense. But at the top where the best banner spot is my AI team. So I'm using this to promote my own software. So, yeah. So it depends on how you use it. And then my goal is to build this up where this produces its own money. And then I have my own news websites that I have and I could sell for traffic and ads and all that cool stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep.
It's amazing, man.
What do you guys think? Cool
I
stuff.
think, yeah.
Yeah. I need to finish going through your course, and then start building something.
Heck yeah.
So my AI team, is it something the software you have made, is it like you have made it like connected with Make, or like how is I mean, I actually joined late, so
Yeah, absolutely. So I personally didn't connect it with Make.
okay.
Make is something I discovered probably after I built with software. So inside of the group and stuff, there's a lot of videos. Even in our last group training call, we built inside what's called Bubble. So everything is in Bubble. So you see how I connected this API? This API now allows it where I can connect to Make. However, inside the plugins, you can see that there's an API connector, right? So in here is, you could even set up this API, the one for my AI team, and plug it into Bubble. You don't have to plug it into Make. Make is just an option to do like no code software development, right? So, but however, inside Bubble, you can see I have all of these APIs. This is what makes Bubble right. So where this says API writer, this is actually connecting to OpenAI, which is all I'm doing right now with my AI, like my AI team, is I'm just taking your guys' request. And if you guys see on the back end, I'm sending it to OpenAI, right? I'm taking your guys' custom command, I'm using that as the write, and then I'm sending that whole request to my dealer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just divide it up, you know? Well, like this one right here, the image API, this connects to DALL-E 3, right? This is connecting to DALL-E 3 right here, and then returning the image after it saves it to your account. And that's, well, this one right here is making the call, and then it's doing the AI writer. Well, this is connecting it to OpenAI.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm using OpenAI inside Bubble. Bubble is what built the front end, the user end. If I wanted to connect to Make for it, I would say Make is one step. Make is more personalized software, right? Make is something that if you had a client that says, hey, I want kind of what you were requesting the other day, where you have something very specific that you want it to do every single day. However, if you made this a software, you might have it where they have a dashboard and they could log in, and then you build this entire thing with the software. That would be, I wouldn't probably recommend Make, but Make would be to prove out this idea to see if it works. You know, you can get started pretty fast with it. But
Yeah, I understand that like Make is kind of, you know, like neurons. So you just is a connector, this connect with this and that. It does not have that flexibility to add more to do more stuffs like Bubble has, but you know, Bubble has its own learning curve. I was actually experimenting with a software called Formwise, and it was pretty cool. You know, it was chain prompting and stuff like that. Have you used Formwise?
I Flowwise or Formwise?
Formwise.
I don't think I have. No.
Okay.
But that sounds really cool. Like, I mean, if you could, essentially, that's the idea that I was trying to do, is just chain prompts together and then produce blogs. So if there's another tool that can do that, I mean, that's freaking cool. So yeah, that's really awesome. Has that worked for you? Has it helped you out?
Yeah, it is like much simpler than Bubble. I actually, you know, like Bubble has a lot more capability, definitely, and it's you know, a kind of a bigger software. So, but you know, Formwise does small stuff, that chain prompting kind of a thing, and it does pretty well. So yeah, I made some couple of small stuff for myself. I will share that in the channel in the school group.
Heck yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. What up, Austin? Welcome to class, man. But yeah, all right. So how about, has anybody since this last training this last week, has anyone started a new software that they're building in Bubble that they want to share?
I have to finish going through the training.
All right, cool.
I wrote down a lot of ideas.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I think I'm just going to copy that YouTube one because you did it on the camera. I'm just going to straight up copy what you did just to learn. I think that'll be useful.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Then also, if you guys got access to that training, that 4-day video too, that one goes through and sets up AI images, but it basically it does. I think that's a workable, usable, sellable software too at the end. Essentially what that 4-day training did was it's a Bubble course. So for 4 days, and then by the end of it, you create a logo generator that generates logos, generates a website mockup, and then generates your branding, like branding colors. And then from there, it also generates all your pages for your website. And so like all your pages and copy. Well, then we show how to connect that to Stripe and then how to sell credits. And so,
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that is a pretty step-by-step process. Maybe I'll make it where that's a little bit more accessible somehow. Because I feel like that's a really good like step-by-step, but also that if you go back to that transcription one that teaches how to set up replicate, that's going to be helpful. Here's what's cool is I'm going to start having, I've been thinking about a directory that I want to build. Some form, right? Because there's two things that I have. We're going to be building software, but we're also going to be creating services. And some of you guys are going to be developers, right? Like I said, I charge $15K a month for my development services. So like development is a high paying job, you know, like AI software development pays nice, you know? So like, however, now that I got 15K, I'm not going to charge less. So like, as we get more people that ask me, hey, Jeff, can you build me software? Well, like, who do I tell them to go to? Hey, like, this is, you know, like, because people are going to ask these things, right? Like, we start having these little prompts where it's like, dude, I want a whole software base just on that. Well, it's like, all right, well, now this YouTube transcription, right? You could build a whole entire software on that. Well, as soon as you build a software on that, well, like, my software can do it, but my software doesn't just do that. So my sales page isn't just written for that. My ads aren't just written for that. My, you know, listing on a marketplace or listing on other directories and getting it on like AI tool directories. Well, my AI team, yes, it could do that, but it's not just built for that. So you having a micro SaaS that's all it does, it's super easy to promote that, right? Like it's really easy to tell people, and then you don't have to build this huge app and this huge software. My AI team is I'm not joking. I feel like it's bloated, right? Like it has everything, but it's not just a one single thing where it's like, if I was to run ads to it, it's super easy to focus on my niche and my person, right? So it's more of like an all-in-one inclusive tool that can do so much. Well, like sometimes the ones that I see successful, like the softwares that I see successful, like they just do one thing. They run ads to one thing. They just transcribe YouTube videos and turn it into blog posts. That's it. Nothing else. You know, and so you don't have to come up with this crazy idea. It's just building out what's called an MVP. And as soon as you have an MVP, well, like we have an audience, right? Like you know, you just have to plant the seeds, which requires you guys behind the scenes to do the work, the push-ups, you know what I mean? So I'm going to add a video that literally helped me Bubble. This is the video that I used to learn Bubble for beginners. And it's this lady, she's so like, she just walks you through so freaking easy, like the whole process. And it's like a 3-hour class, but it's definitely a better, like she's probably a better teacher way far than I am in breaking it down. So if you've never got into Bubble, well, this is a great freaking place to start. And because bubble might be overwhelming. However, when I watched that video, I probably only watched tutorials for probably like the first 2 weeks. And then as I was building after that, I mean, like you pretty much understand bubble and you're like, okay, I know how to do this, and you could build anything. And so one, software development's a high paying job. Two, once you build your software, like it creates monthly reoccurring revenue for you guys. And then you could, once you have that MMR, that reoccurring revenue, well, like software is the only business that you could sell for like multiples, right? So it's different. Most businesses, it's like, let's just say I had a service-based business and I got it up to $1 million per year. Well, most of the time if the workers quit, the whole business goes under. Well, software's not like that. Software, you could build the software and then you could get monthly users, and that software is going to continue to work. The code works for you, not you. And so it's a lot of hands-off stuff. Build it once, thank yourself in the future, right? If you guys work right now and like, okay, I'm going to learn software development and it's going to be hard. It's going to take time. It's going to be new. It's going to be confusing. It's going to be new terms. I have to learn APIs and connections. And however, you guys are conveniently in a group that is willing to help you with this entire process. I am over here sitting on my hands, bored sometimes. If anybody of you guys sit here, like if you guys know me on Facebook, right? Like most of the time when people hit me on Facebook and says, Jeff, do you have got a minute that I could show, like get help with this thing on Bubble? Most of the time I say, yeah, I have a minute. And because I got time, I'll help you guys, right? You guys are in this coaching group. I don't care if it's $7. I make money from my clients and from selling software. I'm not trying to get rich off coaching. I'm trying to have friends that build awesome software that we make millions of dollars together. And then we sell software. Like there's a huge difference. There's a massive difference in the intention of the coaching group versus it's not where I'm trying to get rich right here. This is what I'm actually doing that makes me rich. I'm trying to tell you guys so you guys can do it and build it with me. This is the easiest way. I look for the easy way out most of the time. I look for the fast work, and I look for something that's going to thank myself in the future. Well, software and selling things as a reoccurring revenue, like service, high ticket services. Website building, as crazy as it sounds, it's the most hands-off job that I've ever had in my entire life. Like you build a website, you set it up, and then they think it's really hard to do. However, most of the time it's drag and drop. It's really easy. There's tools that make it super easy. If you guys were on the last Tuesday's business coaching call, if you guys don't own a software, you could literally start and own your own software within 24 hours because of that call. And that is my core base business, is that software that I tell you guys about on that call. You guys could leave with having your own software and then show up to the next, and you didn't even code a thing. No coding. Zero. I'm not even saying no coding. I'm literally saying you just upload your photo and point your domain, and now you have your own website building software within less than 24 hours. That one software I've been making money from coronavirus lockdown for 4 years now. I've been making money from that software. And all I did was put my logo and branding on it, and I get paid by 60 people a month, 47 to 197. That's
Nice.
it. And all I did is put my logo on it.
Which video is this?
So if you guys go into school, okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So this is where I'm going to put all the replays, okay? All the replays. And so inside school, we go into classroom, and then I have live replays right here, okay?
Yeah.
And in order, I'm going to put the business coaching ones on the left-hand side. So this was the first class. This was the second class. The software development, this was the first class. And then today we're going to have the second class, okay? So this one's software as a service, but what first? This right here, this video is going to tell you guys that software that I used, okay? It's going to help you get started with software or selling services, and then how to price it. This is like, somebody today was just telling me they just want to sell software. They don't want to sell services, but they're driving to their 9 to 5. They literally have a 9 to 5, but they're not willing to sell services. Like the reason I never went and got a job after I was fired from my job is because I lost trust in the job market, for one. But two is my rent was 3 weeks past due. I don't have time for a job and then it's going to pay me in 2 weeks. That wasn't an option. It wasn't. So I had to sell the same services that a business would hire somebody for. If you talk to the right person, they will pay you for it as a service. The same job. So the same thing that I was doing, I was marketing for an ammo company. So instead of going out and trying to get a job for a marketing job, I sold my services as marketing services. And I got paid for the same thing. But now I could have multiple clients. I don't have to show up anywhere. I could say I work on the internet. I don't have to go to their job and work there and then sit at a desk and do all that. That's terrible. I want to work when I want to work. I want to do what I want to do. Like, you're able to build your own business and life from this. That's the difference. AI, I saved a post the other day. It literally said, it was like a prompt, and it was like, make me money. That's all the prompt was to the AI, right? That's my goal. My goal is to essentially do that one thing. Like, I just want to set something up and take the time, right? Like, I don't believe that no work and no result, right? I don't believe that you're going to get reward without work. I believe, though, that my intelligence of knowing how to set up this stuff and setting in the right direction, right? Here's the thing is, what's uniquely human is deciding what forest we're going to decide to cut down. Uniquely human. You see how we're deciding WordPress, or I could go to Etsy. I could type in Etsy. Us as the human has to decide, what are we going to spend our time doing? The AI is not going to decide, hey, Jeff, this is what you should do. Maybe it might give us some ideas, and maybe eventually we have what's called agents, and then they actually do those things. But still, us as the human have to decide what you want that agent to do, right? We have to decide the direction of the ship. That is uniquely human. So as you guys go through this, think of the things that you're going to do today that are going to pay off tomorrow, right? That's kind of what this might take a minute to set up. You might have to go through. However, if you set this up once and then you adjust it, well, now you have a sellable software. Now you have a business. Now you could say, okay, I have 5 users that pay me $25 a month. That's $125 a month. Well, that's awesome. Every month I get paid $125. That's $1,000 a year, right? Well, what happens if you have 10 users? What if you have 20 users? What if it happens if you don't have a software necessary client, but you have it where you're charging someone as a service and they're paying $10,000 a month for that one service, right? Like, to use your software, right? People pay me to use my own software, and then they still pay the monthly bill. All I'm doing is building their website on my software. With AI, some people pay me to coach them on AI. And then they're one-on-one with the AI. Well, that's the same thing. I'm just coaching them on my tool. And then they're paying to use my tool, right? So your business that you're creating is more than just the software. The tools are cool. Like, somebody said, Jeff, what if the vendor locked in or whatever? Like, do you care that it's not coded? I'm like, man, I don't care if my software is coded on a potato, right? Like, I don't. As long as it works and makes me money, that's the end goal. And it works for my users, and it's a good experience, right? Like, I'm in business to be able to produce revenue. If I could do that without me being attached to my time, I'm going to keep doing that. What can I make and what can I do today that's going to pay off tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, right? Like, when Jim first talked about it, Jim said he got employee of the month. Employee of the month. You should think of yourself like, nobody is coming to save you, right? There's something called mind your own business, right? Even if you have a job, you should still be minding your own business, which means Jeff Caldwell, even if I'm married in my relationship, I still need to mind my own business and make sure Jeff Caldwell produces revenue for my family. Outside of my wife's business, outside of everything, I need to always be minding my own business. Always, because nobody's going to come and be like, hey, Jeff, I decided to just make you $1 million. As generous as people are, I mean, like, that's really not that logical. right? Like I have to be the person that shows up every day and minds my own business, and I become the best employee of my business first. Because if I want people in my business to act like me, well, they have to see like, oh, wow, the boss does he runs on 10 times speed. I need to stay at that level if I want to be in the club. And now your employees start doing the same thing, right? So you set the tone, but you have to be the one of your business. And so if you're going to create software, well, like it's one of those things, nobody's going to plant the seed for you. My wife didn't, when I decided to learn software, it was almost like, one day that will pay off. And we had to believe that one day software development is going to pay off. Well, the moment my client signed the 10K contract and then like, I mean, dude, 10K a month for a software development client, woo, that's the most I ever had. Like I said it with a straight face and he said, yes, really easy. I should have said more at the first, right? Like, dang. And then he asked for 2 softwares. And then later on we condensed that into one because he just wants one focused and done. Well, that's $15K now for one software. Well, that changes lives. You know what I mean? Now that covers all my bills. And now I could pretty much do whatever I want, right? Like I just build software and I have a guy that I help hire and he does a lot of the hard work. Well, like sometimes I take a whole week off while he works. You know what I mean? Like, so self-services as the high ticket, don't forget about those things. You know, like if you think about a job is just saying, hey, I'm going to show up every day to your place and I'm going to do that task. Don't go after a job, sell a service that does that thing. Then build a software that can solve that service, right? Like all my website build, my AI team helps people build websites. My software that I own, it's a website building software, right? I just support people building websites. That's all I do. Well, the more I could do that and get narrowed in on that, well, the better my MMR goes up, the better my value that I bring to people goes up. And so, yeah, AI is magic. You just have to build a dashboard for it, right? And sell it and show people what it does, right? There's a guy, if you guys go onto Twitter, there's a company called Jenny.ai. He talks about and documents his process, right? Well, he goes viral on TikTok all the time with his AI software. I'm really impressed. I'm trying. I want to get there one day. I'm trying, you know. However, he literally says AI is inherently magic. If you literally just show people, say, hey, look, here's the problem. Are you running late and need help with a webinar? Let me show you how fast you could write a script with AI. And then you record it. And then boom, there's your ad, right? Like that's it. And magic, within seconds, AI produces the result, right? So AI is inherently magic. You just have to show people what it is. Well, behind the scenes, in order to be able to build software like that, you kind of got to do the push-ups, right? So watch that YouTube video. It's 3 hours, right? Like rub your wife's feet for 30 minutes, right? Like, you know, like do the dishes for 30 minutes while you wash it, right? There's stuff that you could do to get this done. And no one's going to do those push-ups for you, unfortunately, right? Nobody is. Nope. And so, yeah. And if you get stuck, message me on Facebook. I mean, like, you guys pay $7 what should be for a few $1,000s worth of coaching. And I'm not going to put a cap on it. I'm not burnt out yet. I love this stuff. I do this every day. I'm always in bubble. You guys see, like, this is what I'm doing because I know that this is what's going to get me to my first $1 billion is software development. I know that in my soul, that software development and knowing what a good software is and how to work on it is what's going to get there. Because it might not be the software I build. It might be one that you guys build, and then we help launch and get it listed on public stock markets, you know, and it freaking goes out there, right? Like it's still selling logins. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the thing goes viral. We're just selling logins once the sales funnel and everything else works, you know? So like it will happen. I know it will. It's just planting the seed and having faith because the actions that we do are going to produce that result. As long as we do the actions, watch the video and then actually dive in the bubble editor and make your first user login. Make your first button do something, right? Like this is a coaching group, but it's an action group, right? Like imagine if we're on a football team, right? And all we did was hang out in the locker room and talk about football. You know, oh, that's really cool. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. You know how cool it'd be to make a touchdown one day?
Yeah, that's great, man.
I love making touchdowns one day. You know what I mean? Like we are the men in the arena, right? This is it, right? We're the people that are actually building it. This is sure talking about it in the locker room, right? But as soon as we hit shut off and we're done, well, you guys are now we're all back on the field, right? We're all in the same marketplace, in the global marketplace here. But here's what's crazy. Most people are intimidated by software development. They think it's so incredibly hard that they are like, I'm not going to do it. That's a lie. There's super smart people that made software development super easy, so people like you and I can just click a button and then it drags and drops and done, right? Like they've made the hard stuff easy so you and I can build it. And it's just going to keep getting easier. So if you learn it now, a lot of times all it is just somebody being willing to say, hey, I'll do that. I'll do it. It's not even a hard job. It's just like when I was in the military, the worst advice I ever got was to blend in and not raise your hand for volunteer and extra duty. That was the worst advice I got. Because you know what happened? I sheepishly hid from responsibility. I sheepishly hid from like the extra duty of the stuff. Whenever the drill sergeant said something, I was the guy that kind of just like, I don't want to do that. When if I would have been the guy that said, I'll do it, I bet you what I would have been promoted faster. I bet you the drill sergeant would have said, hey, who do you think we should promote? Oh, you know the guy that raises his hand first every single time? Let's promote him. Just because he's raises his hand first. He doesn't even know what it is. He's just always first. If I would have got that advice, I wouldn't have left the Army as an E4. That's a participation award. You know what I mean?
That's just a lesson. You can be careful who you listen to.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I got in trouble a couple times because of who I listened to. Like, I'm surprised I had to go to jail because of who I listened to. That shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was part of a military police unit. I was a medic attached to those guys.
Oh wow.
Even military police unit, military do stuff the police do stuff that's wrong. So don't listen to those guys sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. My dad was he was an MP in the Marines and LAPD. He telling me stories. I was like, oh wait.
Yeah. So yeah, one of my favorite quotes is the criminals are just the ones that got caught. You know, like dang. That's jacked up.
They didn't have the right tools.
They didn't have the right tools. Yeah. So yeah. So go ahead.
No, I was wanting to say, man. So you mentioned how the code part of it, like seeing you explain it, it does make it a little bit more easy to understand. But so I experience ADHD from time to time, and I've even had to use AI to where I'll give description of the YouTube video or something I'm watching, and I'm like, I still can't understand this. Why can't I understand this? And it'll ask me like, well, you might be an auditory learner, or you may need to see something demonstrated differently. And so, like today, like I feel like I understand, make a little bit better. I still like right now, just to be real with you, I'm still like I might hire somebody to do this for me, but I got a little bit more gumption.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But
yeah. Parker, you know how amazing that is what you said that though? Like think about this group, right? You want to hire somebody, but there might be somebody in here that really understands this.
Right.
And they're like, you know what? They've done the work behind the scenes to understand it. Right. And so now you're the position where you're like, dude, I would rather hire somebody. That's the same thing. So when I talk about like databases and code and all that stuff, like the code part, I hire out to my developer column, right? Because the moment that stuff I start to do, I'm just like, I just want to know about it. I don't want to know it, like
right.
I just want to know about it. Sometimes just knowing about it is enough. Knowing how to do all this stuff, that sometimes this gets intense. Just knowing that what it's capable of, that's the most important part, because then you could say, hey, I hire a partner with somebody that can do that. And then somebody like him, Jim might be like, man, I'm gonna watch this video 3 times and I'm gonna Google search and YouTube make, and I'm gonna learn everything it is about make, and then I'm gonna message Parker. And then I'm gonna
Hit me up, man.
what up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Jim is the best. Did you know Jim is an employee of the month at his company?
No.
Right?
Well, today I know now.
Right?
Yeah.
So guess what? I bet you if Jim shows up to your company, he's going to be employee of the month, because Jim is the employee of the month type of person. He just hasn't started his own business yet, but he likes helping other people. You know,
the magic's there. The magic's there.
It's there. You know, so it's cool. Like, I want to make it where we can find. I love this group because I think those things are going to happen, and like I said, we're all going to be able to. We complement each other, and then we're going to launch a software. We're going to make a freaking billion together. That's the goal.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Hopefully inflation doesn't come down where $1,000,000,000 like $1,000.
No. I'm done with it. You know,
that's about the time we would make it, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, any final questions for me before I jump off for today's coaching call?
Is it possible to have the bubble hook into other LLMs other than ChatGPT?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's what's cool is inside, like, remember how we talked about Replicate last time?
Yeah.
Right. So if I go to Replicate and I go to Explore, Replicate every day I check Replicate. All right. Literally, because every day Replicate is the open source model. Basically, OpenAI is fantastic, and a lot of times there is other LLMs, which is essentially like another language model that has an API. However, inside here, you see this is Mistral, right? Mistral Instruct. This has 1 million runs. If you look at this, write a bedtime story about neural networks I could read to my toddler, right? Look at this. And this is text generated all from this. Well, if you go up here to this right here, it says API. Look at this. They have an API on every single one of these.
Is the Google Bard in here too?
Google Bard is not. However, now check out this, right? Robots. In here, you could set up where this could use Google Bard. And I actually had it in, I deleted it just recently, but I literally was going and using Google Bard and then calling it through an API with this in Browse. Okay. So Browse could actually mimic human world generation. However, certain things don't have an API yet, which is Bard, right? Bard doesn't have an API. So there's other ways to get around it, which is using Browse. And Browse could turn it into an API. And then literally these become an API. So yes, you could make an unofficial API. I actually have a YouTube video on how to do that, which is using this. Because I was trying to use Bard to, you know. So yeah, so inside Replicate, there's an absolute ton of models that are text generation, image generation. You can see right here, this talks about collections, right here, collections. 3D models, audio generation, control net, diffusion models, image editing. The one that you'd look for is like large language models or streaming models. Trainable language models. You can even train models in here. Now, here's what's cool is the open source models, if you're like really nerdy, right? And I think that there's a couple people in our group that know code and stuff like that. You could take these models and like this Mixtral, you could actually put on your like a independent computer and run independently, not on tokens. So you could literally install this on like eventually I see these things, these large language models installed like on things like Raspberry Pis and like, you know, like iPhones that aren't connected to the internet, you know? And so that soon will have it. And then people could start training their specialized data on it and all that. And it's like assistants that aren't connected to the internet, but they're really smart. So this is kind of where you could get it. So is right here, Replicate. Cool. I use Replicate all day long. I mean, it's so cool to see new models pop up every day. If you scroll down to where it says the latest models, this is all of this, you know, and so you can kind of see like text to image, like just a ton of stuff.
They work on like tokens too or something, or how's their pricing?
Yeah, so their pricing is based off of, it's not based off outputs, it's based off of essentially computer runtime. So essentially it's GPU time and how long it's running. So you see how it's like running on this based off seconds. Here's what's really cool. If you guys, one of my favorite freaking models that they just added that I was literally going to add in the next few days is it's this image model. Depth anything. They actually added some really cool ones recently. This instant IDs. Let's see, where is it? Turbo, I think it is. So you can see this output took 4 seconds. So this output is extremely fast, but if you hit just run, essentially you kind of see how fast it runs. I mean, like, look at that. Like, that's so fast, 2 seconds. So it's extremely fast running these things now that they're getting fast. So the reason why they have these, some of these are creating like real-time image generation. So just like, it's just crazy how fast you can make these things. So, and yeah, you could run it on your own platform, Python. It's called Docker. Docker sets it up so you can import this thing in all on your local computer. So
That's cool.
Yeah. Very cool stuff. All right. Anything else?
Oh, that's it. I don't have any more questions.
Nice.
I'm gonna get started today, man. I'm gonna actually pick a niche today.
Woohoo, fuck yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Legend. That's awesome. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man. Hey, thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah. If you guys get stuck, like I said, message me privately on Facebook. And I mean, I'll spend an hour with you on Zoom. You know what I mean? I don't care. It's not going to cost you a dime, so just, you guys are in this group. The success of this group is what I care more about, and you guys are like launching stuff. Like, that's freaking awesome. Like, so don't be shy, like if you get stuck, know that you have support. And so, it's there. So, yep.
Appreciate you, Jeff.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Take care. Bye,
Bye, guys.